Well, I'm thrilled to introduce Oliver again, who is from CI Destinations. And Oliver, I want to let you take it away. We've done many trips with Oliver, and we're excited to this upcoming Tuscany trip. I hear some background noise. Do you hear?
I just heard some,
Yeah.
yeah, briefly.
So if you guys want to mute yourselves, they'll probably take care of that. And then I'll open it up for questions towards the end where we guys can unmute and we'll be good to go. Want me to take over, Margie? All right. Well, thanks for coming out this evening, folks. My name is Oliver Bergeron, and I am the owner of CI Destinations. I want to first thank Margie for partnering with us on this great program. Margie and I have become good friends over the years. We've started off, God, I think it was pre-COVID, working on travel, and we've seen the world together. So it's kind of exciting. But with CI Destinations, CI stands for Chamber International Destinations, which means we only work with chambers of commerce across these great United States. That only the chambers, folks. So that is our specialty, and it truly shines when you're out traveling because you're traveling with like-minded travelers. Some things that make our programs really special are, well, first of all our programs, they're all fully tour managed. Now, what that means is when you land in Florence, you're going to have probably one of the best Italian tour managers in the industry meeting you right outside of baggage claim. And she's going to be with you for the entire duration of the trip. So she is your tour guide, of course, but she is so much more. She's going to take this nice brochure and breathe life into it. She is there for you. She's there to act as your own personal concierge. That's huge. I'm telling you, because the difference from a tour manager to a tour guide is truly night and day. Give you an example. And if you're doing a program on your own, maybe you hire a tour guide in Florence, and maybe that guide's with you from 10 to 3 in the afternoon. And after 3 o'clock, you're never going to see them again. So their commitment to you may not always be the best. Whereas a tour manager, someone like Claudia, who we've been working with for years, she is a rock star and she is there for you to help you uncover every hidden secret gem that Tuscany has to offer. So tour management is huge. Another great thing about our programs are our hotels. We stay in great four-star city center hotels. So when you're traveling with the Chamber and CI Destinations and you pull into Montecatini Terme, where we're calling home for 7 nights, we're staying in the city center. The oldest spa in Tuscany is across the street. You never have to worry about taking a taxi to get to the city centers because when you walk out of the breakfast room, you are there. So hotels are important. Tour management is important. And then finally, having the perfect balance of structured tours and leisure time. It's so nice to be able to take in the cities, but it's also amazing to have some free time to explore on your own the cities that you just toured, to take advantage of that free time. So it has the perfect balance of structured tours and leisure time. Those are some things that make our programs really great. What we're going to do now, I'm going to minimize this. We'll take this off so you guys get the full picture. And then we'll take this off so you guys get even a better picture. We're going to drop this down. And we're going to jump into Tuscany. All right. So we have included, of course, is our flight. We're flying from Dulles into Florence, and we'll have a change of planes somewhere along the way. What I like to do is I like to get our travelers in on the earlier side so that when we land in Florence, we're in Montecatini, by 1 or 2 in the afternoon. Great way to start the trip. And when we land in Florence, we're met by our tour manager. Here's one of our tour managers here. And she's going to be with you for the entire duration of the trip. She is amazing. To keep the quality high, we've included what we call the whisper system. Now, this is a great device. It allows you to hear your tour manager from up to 250 feet away. So you no longer have to huddle around your tour manager saying, wait, what is she talking about? What are we supposed to be looking at? What did I miss? That situation is in the rear view mirror. Now you've got the great whisper system. You know, you can actually enjoy what the tour manager is talking about and relating to the sites, soaking it all in. It's a great tool that really elevates your experience. So we'll be traveling via deluxe motor coach. And our motor coaches are typically 3 years old or newer, a great way to get around. And with traveling in Italy, you can leave the driving up to the experts, sit back, relax, enjoy the beautiful Tuscan scenery as he navigates the streets through Italy. So this is a great way to get around. Our coaches, they're usually like a 55 passenger motor coach, and we usually have 30 to 35 travelers. So we always have breathing room on the trip on the coach. Okay, so we've landed in Florence. We met our tour manager. We're now making our way over to Montecatini Terme. And we're going to be in Montecatini Terme for 7 glorious nights. Montecatini Terme is renowned for its holistic spas. It has 9 fully functioning spas in Montecatini Terme. And the spas are known, like I said, for their holistic waters. Where are we staying at? Well, in Montecatini, we're staying at one of my favorite hotels, the Grand Hotel Tituccio. Here's the shot of the grand entrance. This is a great 4-star hotel located in the city center of Montecatini Terme. And I always like to include, a few public shots of the property, the dining room. This is a great place to call home. And when you unpack one time, you actually get to use the furnishings in the hotel. So what I love to do when I'm in Montecatini on my first day, well, I'll go shopping and I'll buy a case of water, I'll buy some fruits, some snacks, and I'll make my hotel room my home. And when I venture out on tour every day, I'll grab a couple of bottles of water. I'll throw them in my backpack. Folks, that little hint, boy, that'll bring your experience to a higher level because you will get thirsty and you won't have to be bothered by finding a local store. Yeah, this is a great place to call home for 7 nights. So location, location, location. This is right off the breakfast room. So what I love to do, the breakfast rooms typically open around 7. The tours usually start right around 9. So I'll have an early breakfast. I'll grab an Italian coffee and I'll walk the promenade of Montecatini, maybe over to Central Park, maybe over to the oldest spa in Tuscany, the Tituccio Spa. Just some amazing sights right from the breakfast room. Now, whether or not you take a spa treatment, you've got to walk the grounds of one of these spas at least once. These date back to the 13th century. And it's amazing what they constructed back then because they didn't have DeWalt or Home Depot or Lowe's or the things we have at our disposal today. They had ropes and pulleys and chisels and hammers and horses. Yet the things they constructed were works of art. Absolutely amazing. This is the Tituccio Spa. This is in Central Park, right across the street from our hotel. So now you're starting to truly get the feel of how important location is. Our location will really enhance your experience. Now, I always have travelers asking me for different recommendations of restaurants. There's some great restaurants in Montecatini. This one's up at Montecatini Alto. And when we do our document meeting sometime in early October, I'll actually give you guys more recommendations. But this is one area where Claudia, your tour manager, will truly shine because she lives there. So she knows which restaurants are truly authentic and which ones serve the masses and which ones to avoid. Because dining is always or can always be a highlight and should always be a highlight under the tutelage of your tour manager. Okay, so let's jump into the tour. So far, we haven't even started touring, but today is our first day touring, and we're gonna head over to Florence, which is only 45 miles away. And millions of people descend upon Florence annually. We're actually going to go right up to this hilltop so we can take the same photo that we have here. So, as you look at the itinerary, it's not an accident that we do Florence in the beginning because you will fall in love with Florence. And we will have travelers that on their free day, whether it's on day 8, which is devoted to your free days, we will have travelers that will want to go back to Florence. That's why we do it early in the itinerary. So you can fall in love and look forward to going back to this majestic city. So as we're going through Florence, you're going to notice the beauty of Brunicelli's dome dominates the skyline from just about any vantage point. We're actually going to go inside the Duomo, and there's a staircase that wraps the walls of the Duomo that'll get you up between 30 and 40 feet of the frescoes. This is where you start to recognize the program really does have the perfect balance of structured tours and leisure time. Here we are right outside the cathedral. Folks, you're going to learn firsthand who's buried in this cathedral. Well, who's buried? Michelangelo. And you're actually going to get to go inside. Now, could you imagine you're on it doing this trip on your own and you go to the cathedral, but you don't even know that little morsel of knowledge? The attention to detail when these were constructed is nothing short of amazing. We're also going to be taking in the north doors of the baptistry. Now, the north doors are important because these gilded gold doors, folks, these scenes on these doors depict the life of Christ. And speaking of free time, if you want to have a bite to eat, lunch on your own in Florence, there's ample restaurants and some of the most delectable places to grab a little bit of charcuterie and a glass of wine. There we are in the San Lorenzo district. This is the open air market that's known for its leather goods. So the tours usually wrap up in Florence right around 5 or 6. Um, some travelers can, if you like, you can stay and enjoy the evening in Florence. There's a train, and your tour manager will actually show you where the train station is and help you purchase tickets through the kiosk. There's a train that goes from Florence to Montecatini every half hour. And that train station in Montecatini is 25 meters away from our hotel. So Florence, if you want to stay and enjoy dinner in Florence, it's very, very easy to do so. And here's some of our travelers that were traveling with us last October. I like to show this shot because it gives you an idea of the attire, resort casual attire, comfortable walking shoes. The weather this time of year, you should be in the mid to high 60s, really fantastic traveling weather. And while we're in Florence, we're also going to be taking in the Ponte Vecchio Bridge. And the Ponte Vecchio Bridge spans the banks of the Arno River. And originally, the bridge would house, fish markets, butcher shops, flower markets. And when those things would go sour, everything was thrown into the river. Nowadays, as you cross the Ponte Vecchio Bridge, or on the Ponte Vecchio Bridge, you cross the Arno River, you'll see the goldsmith shops, the silversmith shops. So the next morning, this is another gem. So the next morning, we're going to wake up and we're going to head west just about 12 miles to the smallest walled city in Tuscany, and that is Lucca. Lucca is a gem, and if you're doing this trip on your own, you may have never even heard of it. It is always a highlight for our travelers. When I talk to travelers after they've come back from their Tuscan experience, and I say, what was the best part? Lucca is up there in the top 3 all the time. You'll see the outdoor eateries, the shops. The main industry in Lucca is olive oil. No wonder it's a highlight. And you'll notice the drastic size difference from the cathedral from Florence to that of the one in Lucca. So it's only 12 miles away from Montecatini. So we typically, we leave at 9. We're there by 9:15. We spend the entire morning in Lucca. We have some time for lunch, and then right after lunch, we're going to head over to Pisa. And Pisa is another 12 or so miles away from Lucca. So everything is in close proximity to each other. This is a great day. And when you go through Pisa, you will please be prepared to be very, very impressed. I've had travelers that have gone to Pisa with us that have been there several times, and they say, gosh, your tour manager brought so much to the table. There were things about Pisa I didn't even know, and I'd been there 3 or 4 times. I'm going to jump through these real quick. I'm going to come back to them, don't worry. So this whole area of Pisa is known as the Parade of Miracles. And construction began on these monuments, these masterpieces, back in the 13th century. And they took over 100 years to construct. Much of the marble came from the same marble fields as Michelangelo's David. Now, we're going to be going into the baptistry, as you see here. And I want you folks to know that when it comes to admission tickets, we've already pre-purchased the admission tickets because I recognize the most important commodity in this trip, in any trip actually, is our travelers' time. And I don't want our travelers to waste a minute in line waiting to purchase a silly admission ticket when I can purchase those well in advance. So even before we have our travel meeting in October, all your tickets will be settled. So this is the great part. You'll see people like maybe 100 people in line, and Claudia is going to walk us right up to the front, and we're going to go right on in, and people in line are going to be going, wait a minute, what makes them so special? And honestly, folks, it's the fact that you're traveling with the chamber and CI destinations that makes you so special. Because, like I said, we don't want to waste a minute of your time in silly lines when we can pre-purchase those admission tickets. And they say that 12 steps entering the cathedral represent the 12 disciples. Yeah, Pisa is a very, very special place. My friend Jane, she's a chamber executive. She sent me this picture. And Jane is the gal right where my mouse go. This is Jane right here. And she said, Oliver, here's the group having lunch. And I got to laugh. Okay. Now look at this for a minute, folks. She said having lunch. I don't see any food on the table. I see a few bottles of wine. Everybody's having a great time. I am sure lunch is on its way, though. But I always like to talk about Jane in this shot. You start off with the room not knowing everybody, but we're all going to be sharing a wonderful Tuscan experience together. So the next morning, we'll wake up, we'll enjoy that hot buffet breakfast. Then we're going to make our way over to Siena. And Siena was really designed to blend into its environment, kind of like you see here. And we'll be going into the plaza of Siena, taking, of course, the adjacent bell tower. Here's the plaza here. And one of the things that Siena is famous for, it's the Palio. It's a bareback horse race that happens every July. And the streets of Siena are filled with spectators. We're also going to be taking in the Cathedral of Santa Maria Assunta. This is my by far favorite cathedral in all of Europe. You will have an aha moment when you just start to examine the amazing architecture of this cathedral. We'll be going in as well, but the pictures honestly don't do it justice. This is an amazing place in Siena. And let's talk about gelato. Pistachio is my favorite. And I like this shot because, the Italians take great pride in everything they touch, whether it's, the pistachio almond or or the banana or the strawberry, but you can have the same gelato in Siena, in Lucca, in San Gimignano, in Montecatini, and it's all going to say taste different because it's all homemade. And that's where I say, the Italians take great pride in everything they do. The other thing I like about this shot, it speaks to the pace of the trip. It really does have the perfect balance of structured tours and leisure time. So you not only get to experience the culture, but you get to taste the culture as well. All right, so now we are on day 6, I believe. Let's see. Yep, day 6. So day 6 is designed for our travelers to have some say in it, what they want to do. It's a free day, so if you want to go back to um, Florence and go to the San Lorenzo district and find that perfect leather jacket, you can. If you want to enjoy a spa treatment at one of the spas in Montecatini, you can do that as well. Or if you want to enjoy a special day going over to Cinque Terre, that is available to you well. This is an optional choice, so you get to pick and choose what you want to do. And Cinque Terre is a gem. One of the things I love about Cinque Terre is the fact we're going to get off that motor coach for a day. Okay, we're gonna head to the train station in Corniglia, board the train, and make our way over to Cinque Terre, the five lands on the water in Italy. Absolutely breathtaking, and the train will be taking us through 3 of the 5 villages. We get to spend the entire day in this beautiful gem called Cinque Terre. And you'll get to meet the locals. I was talking to a local fisherman. Of course, fishing is one of their main industries. And he said, gosh, you Americans are so busy. You know what you're doing 6 months from now. And he said, the beauty of Cinque Terre is we truly get to enjoy today and we'll worry about tomorrow. And I thought, he is exactly right. I know what I'm doing 6 months from now. So I thought to myself, gosh, I need to design our trips that way so our travelers can fully enjoy every minute of every day, never having to be bothered about worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow and how's it going to work out and things like that. I've got tomorrow taken care of for you so you can fully enjoy your time in Cinque Terre. And it is a gem. And this is one area where your tour manager is going to knock it out of the park because she's been there. She knows the hidden secrets. Yeah, Cinque Terre is very special. So the next morning, we're going to enjoy breakfast. And now we're going to make our way over to the hilltop town of towers known as San Gimignano. And this is San Gimignano here. So, and this is another great example of how I can show you the perfect balance of structured tours and leisure time. In that, from San Gimignano, you can see Siena. They're maybe 15 miles apart. And when I did this trip the first time years ago, I did Siena and San Gimignano in the same day. It can be done, but folks, it is very, very, very rushed. And right when you're falling in love with San Gimignano, your tour manager will say, sorry, folks, got to get going to Siena. So that's why we have 2 separate days, one day fully devoted to Siena and all its magical essence, and then one day devoted to San Gimignano, the hilltop town of towers. And originally, these towers, they would house families, generations of families. And they would say the higher the tower, the more affluent, the more wealthy the families were. So this is an interesting note. The tallest tower in San Gimignano, this one here, is the San Gimignano Chamber of Commerce, and it is open to the public. And I think it's something like 310 steps that'll take you to the top. Here's some of our chamber travelers right up here. And you are now at the highest point of the Chianti region. You will fall in love with San Gimignano. I know these folks from Virginia did. This is one of our groups. And again, this gives you a good idea of the weather you can expect as we're going through Tuscany. And I like this shot here because it shows a happy marriage of yesteryear with modern day technology. Of course, you've got your main well, but you also have an ATM right here in the backdrop. And you know, back in the 13th century, there were no ATMs. So this wasn't even in their imagination. So the people always ask me about money and currency and ATMs. Well, they are a dime a dozen, very, very accessible. Okay, so I mentioned we're in the Chianti region. So after we've had a great time in San Gimignano, we're going to venture off the highway and drive through the Chianti region. And as we're driving, we're going to come up upon a winery, Poggio Allora. And this is a working winery today. We're going to have a full tour of the winery, the cellars, the orchards. We're actually going to get to meet the owner of the winery, and we're going to enjoy an Italian wine tasting. And the beauty of an Italian wine tasting kind of goes like this. He's going to pour everybody a glass. It's nothing like no wine tasting you've ever experienced before, like in Napa, where if you go to Napa and you have a wine tasting there, say, would you like a Cabernet, a Merlot, or a Chardonnay? And please hurry because there's 15 people behind you. So in the Chianti region, he's going to pour everybody a glass. And then he's going, okay, take a sip. Is it very educational wine tasting? Take a sip, folks. Tell me what you're tasting. You may not know what you're tasting. So he'll give you some description. Well, does it taste bitter or sweet or smoky or oakier? And he'll give you a variety of questions. And then he'll say, okay, take one more sip. Okay, that was a Sangiovese, folks. So now you know what a Sangiovese should taste like. Let's try a different variety. And he'll go through another barrage of questions, a few sips. That was a Chianti Classico. Ah, starting to get the hang of this. Let's try another variety. Questions and sips. That was a Chianti. There's a difference from the Chianti and the Chianti Classico. So you're going to learn firsthand the knowledge of Italian wine tasting. And here's one of our groups enjoying some charcuterie, the wine. This is a great, great day. And by this time in the tour, we are one big chamber family. So now we are on day 8. Day 8's a hard day to show a picture of. So day 8 is an entire free day. So if you want to go back to Florence, or you want to go back to Cinque Terre, or you want to go back to Lucca, or you enjoyed wine tasting so much you want to do a day of wine tasting, you can do whatever you want to do, and your tour manager is there to help facilitate that. And then on our last night, we're going to have a grand farewell dinner. And what I love about our farewell dinners, it's going to have entertainment, great food. Everybody's going to be sharing highlights, and everybody's highlight is going to be a little different than the person next to you. And we will all come home one great happy chamber family. She's going, geez, Margie, where are we going next? And here's one of our group shots at the winery before we head home. So then we'll head to Florence. We'll jump on that flight and we'll make our way back to Dulles. For those folks who have a little bit more free time, if you like, we do offer a 2-night extension that goes into Rome. So you'll have your tour manager, same tour manager, taking you from Montecatini down to Rome. And then upon arrival in Rome, we're going to enjoy a comprehensive sightseeing tour, taking in really, folks, all the highlights that Rome has to offer, of course, including the Roman Forum. Rome is an amazing, amazing city. and the world-renowned Trevi Fountain, of course. So then we'll have a free day in Rome, and we will have travelers that will want to go and take in the Sistine Chapel. And of course, we'll have skip the line tours or tickets available because when I did the Sistine Chapel the first time, I stood in line, gosh, with about 100 other people, which wasn't too bad. This was about 10 o'clock in the morning. But when I was done with the tour, it was around 2 or 3, and Sherry and I got out, and the line wrapped around 5 city blocks. And I looked at these poor people in line going, my goodness, folks, they could be in line all day, and when they get up to the entrance, they could close. So again, we recognize the biggest commodity in any of our trips is our travelers' time. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to jump back down here. And we'll turn this on. Yeah, go find it. Well, we'll open it up. Open this one up. And now I'll open it up for questions. If anybody has any questions for me. So this trip departs October 20th. And if you register by March 31st, you do receive the early booking price of $35.99. And how do you register? Well, on the back of the registration, on the back of the brochure, there's a registration form. You simply complete that, send that along with your deposit check of $450 per person to Margie at the chamber, and then she'll forward it on to us. We will then send you a confirmation packet, welcoming you to the trip with Cinque Terre information, the Rome extension information, passport information, as well as travel insurance information. And then the direction, if you have any questions or anything like that, to give us a call. And I'm going to jump back to one of my, I like that one. Do need to have a valid passport. Needs to be valid for up to 6 months upon your return. Does anybody have any questions for me? Oh, you're muted still. You can unmute. Let's see if we can unmute you.
I'm trying. I did the ask to unmute. You unmuted before, so do what you did last time. When they're figuring that out, I see everybody with gelato in their hands in this picture.
Oh yeah. And I mean, I can't really stress how nice it is to have that balance of structured tours and leisure time. If you're touring all the time, you wouldn't get to have the gelato experience. Let's see.
You guys are still muted. There you
There
go.
we go.
How far is it from to Rome on the extension?
So from Montecatini down to Rome is about 3 hours,
Okay,
3.5 hours with traffic.
perfect.
Great, great.
Yeah,
Oliver, how much should we allow for tips and whom do we tip?
So tips, you tip your tour manager, and typically we tip our tour managers. My recommendation is 5 to 7 euros a day, and that's all taken care of at the end of the trip.
Okay,
And then
perfect. Yeah.
your driver usually €1 to €2 a day, and that's done at the end of the trip. Now with tipping, it's a personal thing, but people often say, gosh, Oliver, you put together a heck of a program. How come we don't include the tips? And I love our tour managers to death, but I just think tips need to be earned. And I would hate for someone to become complacent, saying, well, I don't have to do my 100% because I tips already. Um, that's my personal take on tips.
gotcha. That's very helpful. Thank you.
So if you take the extension, I guess you would fly home from Rome?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And this trip is open to friends and family of the chamber. So if you have friends, maybe they live in New York or Detroit or over here in Fresno, we can fly them from their preferred cities. They don't have to fly to Dulles to meet the group. We'll have everybody meet in Florence. If you want to extend your trip or fly in early, just let us know in writing, either on a reservation form or shoot us an email. Let us know what you'd like to do, and we'll make it happen for you. If you want to upgrade your seats to maybe the premium economy, business class, or first class, to give you guys a guideline, easy for me to say. Premium economy usually runs about $2,000 per person. Business class is $4,000 to $5,000, and first class is $5,000 to $7,000.
Gotcha.
Just let us know if you prefer one of those, and we can work on that as well.
Is the travel included? I mean, is the flights included? No.
Yes.
Yeah, the flights are included, round trip flights from Dulles to Florence.
How much? So, I'm sorry, somehow I missed the pricing. So what is the pricing of the extension? What is the, I mean, I don't care to the dollar, just a round number is fine.
So the Rome extension is $699 per person. And then if you're a single traveler, the single supplement is $275.
Okay.
The base program is $35.99.
And that
And then
included the flights.
that includes all the flights. And
Pricing.
the single supplement for the base program is $750. Single rooms cost more, they are limited, and they're smaller. And I've found that if I'm just straight with travelers, they have a better experience because in Europe, single rooms are smaller, but it's not like here in the United States. Excuse me.
Well,
And I can just say, the forms is on our website, rockvillechamber.org, and you hit the travel with the chamber tab, and then you go right to the Tuscany trip, and then you'll see it says download the reservation form. So that form you'll have to fill out to send to me with the deposit.
okay, and that should be done before the 31st of March.
Yes. Yeah, to get the early booking discount
Right.
price.
Perfect. Sounds great.
Now,
Oh, and when would the final payment be due?
So final payment is due 120 days prior to departure, so that's going to be early June.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll send an invoice with your initial kit and your welcome package, and then we'll send a reminder one probably about 130 days prior to departure.
okay.
now,
Perfect.
now that we've seen your summer, we're even more excited.
Cinque Terre, yeah, this trip gets incredible reviews. People come back and they're like, they get off the plane in Dulles and like, I'm ready to go back.
Yes.
Well, as soon as I saw it, I just thinking about what we were going to do in October. I said, well, let's go back to the chamber and check. That was such a great trip.
Yeah.
The French Riviera and all. And so as soon as I saw Tuscany, I said,
Yeah, the French Riviera was a good one too. That was one of ours.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was great. That was our first one.
Yeah.
That was great.
Can I ask the opposite question about the early bird discount? How late can we decide to go?
So everything is guaranteed up until 120 days prior to departure. After that, if you decide like in September you want to go, we'll just have to see what the cost of the airfare is and what's available.
Or we could decide in early June or late May or whatever the timing was for the 120 days. That's when we could actually still sign up if there was
Yes.
space. I assume
Yes.
still can sell these things out too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Connie, we're not under any minimums or maximums because Oliver will just, merge another chamber with.
Right, right. But he's still going to have, he's selling it. And if all the seats sell,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
80 seats or 40 seats or whatever it is on the trip. And then when they're sold, they're sold.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Margie.
Good
Okay.
questions.
Excellent. Thank you for your very thorough briefing.
Well, thank you guys. It was great seeing everybody. Thanks for coming out. Margie, always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. And I'm going to stop my recording now because we're going to send this out to people.